Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to UFC 160 Bet Predictions. That's right, bitches. If you want to make money, now's the time to start taking down notes. Fight number 1, Jeremy Stephens versus Esteban Payan. I don't know either of these guys. I've heard the names, so I'm going to go from the information from my sources, which is split 50-50. And my final prediction is do not bet on this fight. Fight number 2 is Brian Bowles versus George Roop. I have no idea again about either of these dudes, but if I am going to bet, I'm going to bet for Brian Bowles to win based on the information from my sources. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which is fight number 3 versus Sean Burrell. I would not bet on this fight, folks. Stephen is a great kickboxer, but if I was to bet, I would go with Stephen because I really like his style, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to bet on this fight. Fight number 4 of UFC 160, I would definitely bet on this, and I will be going for Khabib Nurmagomedov. Fight number 5 is Colton Smith versus Robert Whittaker. If I was forced to, I would probably go with Colton, but for me this is a real question mark, so I would most likely not bet on this. Fight number 6 is Dennis Bermudez versus Max Holloway, and I'm not too sure, but if I was to pick a winner, I would go with Dennis Bermudez. Fight number 7 of the card is Mike Powell versus Rick Story, and I would not bet on this. It's a question mark for me. It was a question mark for a lot of other people. I would rather just wait and find out than put money and stress myself, to be honest. So I will not be betting on this fight. And the first fight of the main card is Donald Cerrone versus KJ Noons. I will be picking Donald Cerrone to win, and most likely betting on Donald Cerrone to win. Fight number 10 of the night is Glover Teixeira versus James Tuhuna. I will be betting on this. I will be going with Glover, and I will be picking it most likely Glover Teixeira to win by a way of submission. Fight number 9, we have Gray Maynard versus TJ Grant. Both of these are real good fighters, despite a lot of my sources, most of my sources, suggesting Gray Maynard, and me personally feeling like Gray might get the nod. I'm still very split about this fight, and I would in no way be surprised if TJ Grant managed to pull off the victory in either a KO fashion or a decision fashion. If any of them managed to pull the victory that way, I would not be very surprised, to be honest. And fight number 11 of the night is Junior Dos Santos versus Mark Hunt. Junior Dos Santos, real good at takedown defense, real good stand-up. Probably the fastest footwork in the heavyweight division. Maybe the fastest hands. His boxing is very impressive in general. Never been stopped by TKO, never been KO'd. Has only had one submission loss early on in his career. Kane gave him an incredible whooping for 25 minutes, and he couldn't stop him. Mark Hunt is a K1 World Kickboxing Champion. That was, however, back in 2001. In 2008, Mark Hunt stopped competing in K1. He's on a pretty incredible UFC win streak as well versus formidable opponents. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Both of these fighters have a lot to win and a lot to gain out of this fight. I believe it'll be fireworks, and it'll be fireworks standing up. If anyone wants to take this fight to the ground, it'll most likely be Junior Dos Santos after he's hurt Mark Hunt on his feet. I would not like to predict the way of victory in this fight, but I will be going with Junior Dos Santos. And the main event of the evening, Cain Velasquez versus Antonio Silva. This to me, folks, is a no-brainer. If you want to bet on this fight, definitely bet for Cain Velasquez, but you're most likely better off not betting due to the fact that his betting odds are so low. The reasons for betting on Cain would be, I mean, if you saw the first fight, you'd see the exact reasons. Cain took Antonio down and Antonio couldn't do much. Yep, he got cut. He had an incredible amount of blood in his eyes during the whole fight, which was a big disadvantage to Antonio in the fight. But if you also see Antonio Silva's fight versus Cain's main training partner, Daniel Cormier, Antonio lost again by, just very similar way, which is the exact way I see this second fight playing out again. And having said that, Antonio Silva is on a big boost. He must be. I mean, he just knocked out Alistair Overeem, man. So it'll be an interesting fight to see. Antonio Silva must have learned a little bit from those two fights with those two losses versus Cain and Daniel Cormier. So he must have improved something in his game to counter that. I just don't think and don't see how it will be enough to defeat such a beast and a supreme elite athlete such as Cain. So I'll be going with Cain Velasquez, definitely by a TKO or a KO. And that concludes UFC 160 betting predictions. Tune in soon for UFC 160 breakdown. Thank you for listening.